All right, let's dive in. We've got this stack of notes here, and well, they're definitely unique.
Yeah, yeah. Unique is one word for it.
We're looking at material that covers some really deep fears, actually, but also some surprising inventions, and just a very, very peculiar day.
It's quite the mix.
And
On the surface, it seems like just a random collection of thoughts.
right.
But when you start digging in, you see these connections start to pop up.
Yeah,
It paints this fascinating picture. A bit bizarre, maybe, but fascinating.
totally. So our mission here for this deep dive is really to unpack these sources with you. We want to pull out the key bits, figure out what really stands out, see what threads connect these, well, seemingly unconnected details, and just see what it all might mean.
And right away, like right at the top, there's this claim
Yeah.
that just sets the stage perfectly for how strange this gets.
Oh, yeah.
Someone genuinely believes their mom's angry face is scarier than a werewolf.
Yes. That. It's such a bold statement. It definitely grabbed my attention straight away in these notes.
It really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? Right. About fear itself.
It does. And the sources kind of ease into it. They mention someone writing a story first.
A story described actually as a masterpiece by some.
High praise. A masterpiece about things that scare me to death. Pretty classic horror setup.
Exactly. It gets into the creatures of the night and specifically mentions a guy who turns into a weird creature under a full moon.
So basically a werewolf, the standard stuff.
Right, your typical monster, but then bam, the writer just flips the script, says there's something way scarier than a werewolf.
And that's where it comes in. Look on my mom's face when she's mad.
Not just scarier, but like decisively scarier. The note says, Mama wins that contest, hands down.
Wow. It really challenges, our usual ideas of what's terrifying. Is it the big mythical monsters or...
Or is it that really intense, immediate, very real disapproval from someone powerful in your life?
Yeah. The source itself sort of admits this might be a little extreme.
But the conviction is definitely there in the writing.
It makes you wonder if our deepest fears are, programmed by old stories or shaped more by those really early, strong, emotional hits.
Good point. But this isn't just philosophy in the notes, is it? They introduce something concrete.
Ah, yes. The cream.
Right, this weird invention described in the source.
It's a substance. Yeah, you just put a little this cream on your face. It sounds simple.
Deceptively simple. Because the trigger is unusual once it's on.
You have to look at something round, like a full moon or just something round.
Yeah, anything round. And then apparently your face turns really scary.
And one character tries it, right? Says their face turned into a weird form, which echoes that werewolf description again.
It's like weaponized scary face tech.
Huh. Pretty much. And convenient too, apparently. Little soap and water and it's all gone.
So temporary scariness on demand, as long as you have a round object handy.
So naturally, someone had to test it out.
Of course. The sources mention an initial test.
And the reaction when they see themselves.
They ask, is my face that scary? Like genuine surprise. Maybe they didn't expect it to be that effective.
Okay, but the ultimate test, given that opening claim, has to be mom versus the cream, right?
Exactly. And that plays out. There's another character, Nobi.
Yeah. Nobody's mentioned my name.
He tries the cream,
Yep.
puts it on, but before he can find something round to look at,
Mom walks in.
Mom walks in,
Hmm.
and she sees him and instantly knows what's up. She says, your face is going to turn really scary, Nobi.
She knows about the cream. Or just knows Nobi.
It seems like she knows the cream's purpose, yeah. But she immediately pivots back to her own authority.
Let me guess. Clean your room.
Bingo. Now clean your room or you'll see something even scarier.
Huh. Okay, point made. Mom remains the scariest thing in the room.
Undisputed champion.
Okay.
And then she leaves. The note says, my mom's gone out for a bit. Leaving Nobi there, cream on his face, round objects presumably still around.
But the hierarchy is clear. Mom's face, werewolf, cream-induced scary face, maybe?
Seems to be the implication. Now, this whole thing with the cream and the round objects, it certainly makes sense of something else later in the notes.
Oh, yeah. What's it that?
There's this sudden, really intense focus on getting rid of round things.
Right. I saw that. Specific things are targeted because they're way too round. A
Oh.
teacup?
Trainers, which is odd. Maybe the laces or eyelets.
Could be. And a cookie. Even a cookie. The phrase used is obsession with round things.
Which on its own would just seem completely random, like, why?
But knowing about the cream.
Exactly. It clicks. Someone is actively trying to remove the triggers. They don't want their face to turn scary.
So they're purging the environment of circles and spheres. It adds this layer of weird internal logic to it all.
It does. So,
Okay.
okay, we got this fear hierarchy, this strange tech, and this anti-round object campaign.
But the day described in the notes wasn't only about that stuff, was it? There were other little details.
No, definitely not. It gives glimpses of other things going on, kind of painting a fuller picture of the day.
Like, there was something about an exercise. The latest thing for being wrinkle-free.
Yeah, just a little side. Maybe showing an interest in appearance, or just random daily life stuff.
And someone was preparing to go out. Going out for a bit, we'll be out for a while. An outing was planned.
Uh-huh. And tied to that, a quest for dinner tonight. So it wasn't just a casual visit.
The visit was to see an old friend, right?
Yeah.
Sally.
Sally, yeah. Notes say, I haven't seen her in so long, and we have a lot of catching up to do. Sounds like a big deal.
And they mentioned landmarks on the way, the park, and then a great big water tank. Just, setting the scene.
Right, and then, just as they arrive, this minor incident, lost my footing, clumsy me, ended up in some hedges.
Just a little stumble before meeting Sally.
But then we get to the main event with Sally, and it's traumatic.
It's saints.
She faints, flat out. Someone says, Sally, wake up, and asks, what made Sally faint like that?
Okay, so what's the reason given?
Well, the immediate thought in the notes is pretty straightforward. It must have been from the excitement of seeing you after all these years.
Plausible. Definitely plausible.
Very. But right around the same point in these notes, there's this other story tucked in about a thief.
Oh, yeah, the thief gets told, hand over the wallet and no one gets hurt. Standard mugging line.
But the thief's reaction is completely over the top. Screamed like a little girl, turned tail, and ran.
And this immediately loops back to the mom fear thing.
Instantly. Someone suggests, my mom should lend her scary face to the police, and repeats the core claim. She's my scarier than a werewolf.
Reinforcing the theme again,
Yeah.
and they note the thief looked scared.
Yeah, simply the thief did look scared.
But what gets me is the question that comes up again. After the first cream test, it was, is my face that scary?
Uh-huh.
Now, after this thief runs off screaming, the same question pops up. Is my face that frightening?
It's a direct echo, connecting the impact of the scary look, whether it's the cream or just natural scariness across different situations.
So, given how close all these notes are, the scary face stuff, the thief, Sally fainting.
It does make you wonder, doesn't it? Could the scary face have been involved with Sally?
Like maybe they accidentally activated the cream before seeing her, saw a round object, maybe part of the water tank or something in the park.
It's a possibility the sources seem to hint at, even if indirectly. It offers another layer beyond just excitement.
It connects the weird tech and the whole fear theme right into the climax of the day's events. It's strange, but it ties things together in a way the notes seem to encourage.
Yeah, it shows how these different threads, the invention, the personal fears, the day's events, might actually weave together in really unexpected ways.
So let's pull back a bit. What are the big takeaways from this deep dive?
Well, we've definitely seen a world where, the ultimate scary thing isn't some monster from a story.
And an angry parent, yeah.
And we've got this bizarre technology, this cream, that literally weaponizes scary faces.
Leading to that weird crusade against round objects.
Right. And the day itself. Wrinkle exercises, dinner plans, catching up with an old friend.
That potentially ends with a fainting spell, linked back to that very same scary face tech.
It's really a reminder, I think, that fear is super personal, and it can be influenced by the oddest things. Family dynamic, sure, but also weird face screen.
It challenges you to think about what really scares you, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Is it the big obvious stuff?
Yeah.
Or something much closer, much more familiar? Or maybe something totally unexpected?
Which leaves us with this final thought kind of growing out of these notes. If a face can trump a werewolf, and a simple circle can trigger terror, what seemingly ordinary things in your world might hold some hidden, surprising power to scare or reveal something unexpected about your own deepest fears.